What's up, everybody? It's the Bipolar Prophet, and welcome back to Old Ridge Farm in Farming Simulator 15. It's raining! Yay! Or not yay, because as you can see, I've got a stack of straw bales over there that need to be moved. Now, it was funny because today is Thursday. You guys will see this on Friday. So yesterday was Wednesday. I came in the game and did a couple of test runs of putting bales on the trailer, and that went about as well as you can expect for me, right? And all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, it started to rain. It's funny because normally, and as you guys know, it'll get darker and darker and darker in this game, and then it'll start to rain. Well, that didn't really happen this time. It sort of went from being sunny to being dark to raining, and I'm like, crap! And I grabbed the DPW 180 autoloader. I picked up all the bales. I brought them over here. I gave a bunch to the cows because the cows didn't have any straw at all. I made some mixed rations. And this is what I've got left, and I've got to get them indoors. Now, one interesting thing, if we jump out of this telehandler for a minute, and we run over here, and I haven't noticed this before because it hasn't rained a long time in here. It's actually raining inside the shed. I don't know. Now, this is one part of bale extension that I don't really understand. I don't know what it does about that. It doesn't seem to be affecting the bales. You can see the humidity is still the same, the amount's the same, the quality's still the same. So I think as long as the bales think they're inside, I think it's okay. Again, I'm not. That's one part of bale extension I'm not 100% certain on. I may try to find out and see what that does. Obviously, silage bales being wrapped, doesn't make any difference. And you can see I'm down to 3 silage bales, so I'm gonna need some silage. The Milk Max machine is full. But that's not my main priority right now. So my main priority is getting these straw bales inside. So let's go ahead and start on that. I got to bring up my HUD here, and we are on automatic loading, which is what I want. So had another scary thing happen this morning when I went to get ready to set up everything. Turn on my profiler and my Logitech profiler for my wheel and everything. It just didn't want to work. It was like, nope. I want to take the day off or whatever, and it took me. I had to reset it twice and unplug it and reset the computer and everything. Seems to be working okay now, but it just wasn't having it before. So that was a little nerve-wracking to say the least. So, but it's raining here in Old Ridge, which is fantastic. It's been a long time, as you guys know, since any of us have had any rain. So the fact that it's raining is great. I'm okay with it because, obviously everything I needed to be cut is cut now, and I've still got crops growing, so this rain will certainly help them in the long run, So that's cool. I believe now that it's raining, because we've been talking about it down at the pub for quite a while. I believe we're going to have a little rain party down at the pub, probably today at some point. We'll all go down there, and eat and dance around in the rain, I guess. Rain obviously is a massive thing for farmers. Got to have it, especially with the drought being, having been the way it was, and us being restricted from being able to water, or straight water our fields and stuff. Now this rain, again, is it going to change anything in that regard? Probably not. This will give us a quick hit, for rain, and then, and then it'll go away, and we'll probably be right back in the same spot. But to be honest, any rain is better than no rain. I should have moved this wrapper before I started this. Oh, well, that's fine. I don't have that many bales. I will have that many bales, going forward. Oh, that's going to land right on that bale, isn't it? Okay. Looks like I'm going to have to move these twice because I was too lazy to move that wrapper. The amount of bales I have now is fine, but when I start to get all the wheat fields and everything done, I'm going to have a lot of bales, so I'm going to have to do something about that. But for right now, just getting them in here is okay, because I believe, as far as I can sort of determine with the bale extension mod, even though maybe the buildings aren't, they don't stop the rain from coming in, I believe the bales know they're in some sort of collision box. I think that's how it works, and they should be okay. So, and it just started raining, I should say, so they're not super heavy. As you can see, I can still pick them up. And it's not, and again, when you use an auto-loading bale fork like this, the bales aren't an actual thing. They're not a bale while they're on this until you unlock them. So if you notice, when I get inside here and I hit the unlock button, they don't drop down, and try to flip the telehandler over like they would if they'd been sitting outside for an extended period of time in the rain and they got really heavy. And I'm going to make a big mess of this, as you can see, but that's okay. I'm not really worried about that at the moment. I'm only really worried about getting them in here, so. Because I'm probably going to have to move them again. And to be honest, I'll probably just go through all these bales pretty quickly anyway. As I said in the last episode, I do have the bale extension mod installed now. So all the animals are going to not all the animals, but my dairy cows are going to use more stuff, which is fine, which is pretty much what I wanted anyway. So I haven't adjusted any of the values because the values that are set in the mod itself seem pretty good. And again, I'm not 100% certain how much of all these things a dairy cow in real life would use anyway. It's kind of tough to sort of get that information because obviously every cow is different. Every cow eats differently. It depends on what you're feeding them and everything. So, but like I said, my biggest thing here is to get these bales inside. So this episode is going to be pretty a maintenance-y episode. I obviously got some equipment I need to put away. I want to spread some muck, so I need to go get the bucket. I was going to do it with the conveyor and course plate, but then, it started to rain, and I'm like, okay, well, now I might as well do it because I don't really have much else I can do. I can seed in the rain, certainly. I can certainly spread muck in the rain. That's not going to be an issue. And again, as far as the game goes, we're going to get a moisture increase from this rain. Any rain, will help the moisture as long as it's liquid rain. I don't believe hail or I think hail is the only other form of participation in the game anyway, but precipitation, I should say. So we're going to get a moisture bump from that. But as far as the story goes, we're going to have a whole bunch of rain before it really makes a difference, before, the aquifers and the water reserves build up enough that we can go back to, irrigating our crops and everything. So one day of rain is great, but we really need about 6 or 7, 8, 10, that would be good. So this would be one of those times where I wish there was some dynamic terrain and some, sort of weather-related things in the game where we could, where now it's raining and it's been dry for so long that the rain is sort of puddling up on the fields and making the fields muddy and everything. I think that would be cool. And maybe that'll be something that comes down the road someday. Obviously these games are only going to get more advanced. And again, as I've said a couple times, Giants announced that it wasn't going to a different graphics engine, so it's limited to what it can actually, portray in the game. Which is unfortunate, but I think I understand why they're doing it, to keep it optimized for as many people as they can, and and obviously for the consoles, to keep the consoles sort of consistent with the PC version of this game. But okay, that's why you have roleplay, that's why you have stories. We can always say, well, the fields are muddy and whatever. So I probably won't do any seeding during this, just for the fact that I don't want to tear the fields up. In the meantime, I knew this stack was going to get all wiggly on me. I knew it. But again, I'm not really worried about that. I'm just concerned about getting them in here for now. So, because the pig and beef don't absolutely need straw at the moment, but probably when it's done raining, I will bring a couple of bales around. Because as you guys know, the pig and beef don't take very much, so there's no point in me loading up a whole bunch of bales on a trailer. Boink. Oh, I knew that was going to do that. Not a problem with an autoloader, but yeah, I'll probably bring some straw around to the pig and beef. It'll only take a couple of bales each. So once it's done raining, I'll do that. But for right now, I want to get this done, obviously. I want to spread some muck on my fields. If there's time, I've got to muck out my pig and beef because they still have a lot of muck in the pig and beef sheds because I haven't done it in a while, So now, hopefully, obviously in the game, as I've said, Soil Mod will read this rain and, will make its adjustments accordingly to the soil moisture, which is good for my potatoes, which are still growing. They're close to coming up, but they're not done yet. It's good for the wheat, obviously, because I have several fields of wheat that aren't really close to coming up yet. So now, just because having one bale stacked in here is going to annoy me, I'm going to try to put one more bale in the cow shed over here. I think it should take it. Again, as I've said, you watch Mike's videos, Reefy1952's videos, and he likes to fill his stuff completely up, whereas I tend to only put enough stuff in to get me through a day or two. Straw kind of being the exception to that. I tend to sort of fill up the straw, just because, you should always have straw, obviously, in your cow shed, so. One kind of annoying thing about the rain is that it cleaned all my vehicles. Again, this telehandler, I don't know what it is with telehandlers in this game. They just don't get dirty, very quickly. So, I mean, it's got 5 hours on it. Obviously, it's raining now, so, it washed off the majority of the dirt. But I should probably move that milk barrel too, but to be honest, I'm not so concerned about that either at the moment. So, I can do that off screen. That's really fiddly. I gotta move the case. The case is in the way, because obviously, as I said, I was making mixed rations for the animals. So And we'll just park you right there for now. Cut you off. Shut you off. Jump out. Jump back into the... As soon as I find my way around here. I'm lost. I'm lost in my own dairy yard. Go figure. There we go. Pick that up a little bit so when I drop it, it doesn't go crazy. That's one thing about these auto-loading bale forks, as you guys probably know. Because the bales aren't an actual object when they're on the forks, you know, they'll clip through walls, they'll clip through buildings and everything else. But as soon as you unlock them, if they're in anything, they'll just go nuts. So, and that's how you end up with bales on the, you know, on the moon, as it were. So, you can see all the ladies are in eating, which is nice, you know. They're probably like, well, it's about time you feed us. Don't act like that, girls. I feed you guys every day. You know that. So, all right. So that's done. So probably what I'll do is, let me just get this into a health and safety approved position so nobody impales themselves on the forks. Set the brake. Jump out. Oh, no, I need the bucket, don't I? I need to fill the muck spreader. Yep, that's my telehandler bucket over there. Okay. Did I just not get done talking about the fact that I want to put, you know, that I want to spread muck on the fields, right? And what do? Oh, I'll just park the telehandler. It'll be fine. In fact, let me look at the weather. Let me look at the weather and see. Yeah, see, it's only going to rain today, and then it's going to be hot tomorrow. So, of course, that's going to, well, 20 Celsius. I assume that's hot. You can actually see the great demand there. The BSC is ready to pay a considerably higher price for sugar beets. Well, that's where I got the money from. I also sold the soybeans / apples to DeKalb, who was my contract for soybeans, just because I couldn't put them in my shed. There is a spot for them, but I'd have to go into the XML and change it to be able to work it. And to be honest, it was easier just to run up to DeKalb and sell them. They were ready for me, so not a big deal. So yeah, so today it's gonna rain. Tomorrow it's gonna be hot and sunny, and then it's gonna be a little cooler on Sunday with clouds, which is good. Hot on Monday, 28 Celsius, which sounds very warm, and then it's gonna kind of alternate, and then it looks like we're going to get some snow. Well, at 13 Celsius, it won't be snow, maybe hail, which won't make any difference for the soil moisture. So, okay, you know, one day of rain is better than no days of rain, but hopefully the rain, the sort of weather pattern kind of settles itself out, and we end up, you know, getting a few days of rain here before long. It's funny how the weather works itself out like that. Now, can you go into the XML, into the save game XML, and sort of fiddle with that? I believe that you can. I believe that there are ways to go in and, you know, and make it rain or make it not rain or whatever. I like to kind of keep it, you know, natural, quote unquote, as much as I can. I don't like to mess with that stuff too much, but you certainly could do it, I'm sure. I can remember playing on a map in Farming Simulator 2013, and I don't remember what map it was. But it started raining one day, and it didn't stop for, honest to God, for months. You know what I mean? It just rained and rained and rained and rained and rained and rained. And it got to the point where you couldn't play on the map anymore, you know? And this is before I knew anything about XML, before I knew, you know, anything about how all that worked and stuff, so. All right. As you can see, got plenty of muck. Probably not enough to do, you know, all the fields that I'd like to do with it, but enough to get me through, you know, for now. Well, let's see. Since you're here, we're going to use you on the muck spreader. Turn on the beacon. I should have the beacon on the telehandler as well. The case is nice and pretty now. You can see the case. I mean, you may not be able to see that in the corner there on the drive control HUD just because, you know, the video and everything. But there's 53.1 hours on this thing now, which is a lot. That's a lot of hours. I'm closing up on 100 hours on this map, and that's only since the rebuild. You know, I've well over, you know, I probably have 300 or 400 hours on this map altogether, you know. But since the rebuild, I've amassed close to 100 more hours. So, you know, all the equipment's starting to get some hours on it, starting to age a little bit. Now, where do I put this where it's not in the way? Well, that's not going to work, BP. This dairy, you know, as soon as all this harvest is done, as soon as everything's cut and spread and replanted and everything, you know, and alfalfa and all that, we are so gonna expand this dairy. I just don't have enough room. I want to get another Milk Max machine, and again, that's all going to depend on, you know, where the money's at, where the where the after I make all my payments and everything, how much money I have left over. And I mean, obviously, I can keep getting loans, but the bank at some point is going to be like, okay, listen, you need to pay some of these off occasionally, so, which I certainly want to do. I don't always want to be in debt. Unfortunately, being in debt is kind of part of the deal when you're a farmer, so. Is that going in there? Yes. But I didn't just waste all that. One good thing about this bucket, it holds 4,500 as opposed to 1,860 from the front loader, so. Again, I'd like to use this telehandler for, more than just, shifting bales and mucking out and stuff, so. It's an expensive piece of equipment, which I'm still paying for, and it's not making me any money when it's just sitting still. I was just thinking that now I should probably pick up another bucket because, as silly as maybe that sounds, but because I'm going to need to turn the grain in my grain shed, a couple times before I sell it. So I don't want to turn it with, a bucket that I've used to load manure with. So I'm going to have to get another bucket and well, no, not necessarily actually, because I can use the bucket I can use the front loader for that, I think. No. In there. I swear I don't know where this is going. Like, I'm just wasting buckets of manure here. I'm not close enough to the spreader to get it in there. That's one thing I would really like to see, and I know that would be really hard to do. But it would be cool if, like in real life, if you go to load something from a bucket into a trailer, and you miss, well, it goes all over the ground, right? It would be cool if that would happen in the game. I don't know how that would work. You'd have to have some sort of placeable pile on create trigger on the bucket, to make so that when you dumped it into a pile instead of, just making it disappear. And that would probably cause a ton of lag. That would be tough to optimize and everything. But it would be neat, because then I could just be like, all right, well, I just made a big mess and, I'll scrape it back up again, afterwards. There we go. So I basically wasted a bucket and a half of that because I wasn't close enough. That's one thing that's always kind of annoyed me about Farm Sim is, how easy it is to waste bulk material that you're moving around with a bucket. Now, luckily, I still have quite a bit left in this pile from the pig and beef. I still got quite a bit in the main bunker, and there's quite a bit down at the pig and beef now. So, for once, muck is not going to be a problem. I'm not going to have to run up the mics and borrow 17, 18, 20 tons of muck like I usually do. So, hopefully, I will have enough muck to get me through this season, and then of course over the winter it'll build up. So, all right, that's a full load. We can back that up now. And we'll go take this down to, I'm going to have to move the harvester, though, aren't I? Make sure the bucket's on the ground. Health and safety, BP, health and safety. Turn that off. Jump out. Jump into this. Good day to spread muck in the rain, That's one of those, that's one of those things that you can definitely do in the rain, so. Going to need to get a cut on these meadows one more time. Get them slurried one more time, too. Because I'm definitely going to need the silage. Definitely going to need the hay, too. I may actually have to go up to Sean's place and cut the big meadow there that he had offered to let me cut, a while back now. And I just haven't done it because I haven't really needed to do it. But I may have to do it this time to get me through, to have enough grass, hay and silage to get me through the winter, so. Obviously, the alfalfa over here in the home fields is all planted now, so that's all set. You know what we could do? We'll go up and spread field 1 because that's a big field, so that's going to take a lot of trips back and forth. That's pretty much what this episode's going to be. It's going to be a lot of back and forth, spreading muck and that. In the next episode, I'm already thinking about the next episode, and this one's not even over yet, but in the next episode, we will be mucking out the animals. I've got some animals to sell, but I kind of want to wait till the harvest is completely done, so. Oh, I need to bring some straw to my calves, too. And I believe some milk as well. Probably should do that in the next episode as well. Now, we should get a pretty good visual indication of what these fields are like once we drive in here and the soil mod picks it up. You can see the general soil moisture everywhere is a lot better because obviously it picks it up everywhere, not just in fields. Yeah, I mean, look, 87, 88%, And I'm back. Sorry about that. Had to take that phone call, and it took a little longer than I expected. I made one pass around the field already. I was getting a ton of lag, so I basically stopped the recording and started it again. So I've made one pass around the field. One thing I've noticed about these new textures, the new Gene Borg textures that I'm using for the soil mod, for the slurry, for the manure and everything, is that it's really hard to see because it's a lot smaller than the original, in-game textures. But that's okay. I had to actually go down and make sure that it was going on the field, but it is. So we're all good with that. So we'll just keep going around here. Again, I'm going to get some lag. I tend to get lag when there's a lot of particle systems going on and it's raining and things. There's not much I can do about that. So. And also there was a Windows update overnight that, I don't know, it did a bunch of stuff. Windows, right? I just wish Windows would make up their mind about what they want to do. Not too long ago, I'd gone through a whole optimization program, to turn a bunch of stuff off in Windows 10 and uninstall a bunch of stuff that I'm never going to use. All those little sort of silly apps and weather and maps and sports and all that kind of stuff. And then Windows comes out with an update and reinstalls all that stuff and slows my computer right down again. So I had to go back through and do it again. And now, ever since this update, the computer's been a little bit slower, so I'm going to have to run through it once again and see what the hell is going on. Oh well, it's all part of the fun of being a PC gamer, I guess. So I would do this in the cab, which I think would cut down on the lag because it would cut down on what the computer actually has to render and everything. But then I would just miss huge parts of the field. I know I'd make a massive mess of it, so it's just easier for me to do it outside the cab and deal with the lag. Now, I believe it's going to rain for the rest of the day, so it'll probably rain. Well, it started at about 9:30 game time, so it'll probably rain till about 5-ish or so. So this entire episode obviously will be in the rain. But that's okay. Again, it is what it is. So. And like I said, I'm not really concerned about getting every square inch of the field covered in muck here. It's really just, to get some down so that when we come back in and we're going to direct drill the alfalfa here, just as we did on the home fields, because it's just, we haven't had enough rain. I don't want to plow. I don't want the topsoil loss and all that. So we're just going to direct drill everything. And then maybe over the winter, if we get a lot of moisture, if we get a lot of rain, we can go ahead and plow, in the spring. If not, then I will just direct drill whatever I plant right through the alfalfa. So now I don't believe that'll have a game effect. And no-till planting is becoming more and more popular. So so for the storyline it'll be fine too. I don't think it'll affect the yield in the game. I suppose we could always find out. Probably help if I went a little faster. My beacon still on. Yes, they are. You can see over there the potatoes are coming up. No, they're pretty close. They're all budded now. Now I just got to wait for the buds to fall off, and then we can get in there and start harvesting potatoes. And then it'll just be the wheat that's left. Jeez, the lag. Ugh. I swear, I'll spend days and days and days of playing stuff and getting everything, and getting everything set up, and and everything will run smooth, and then I'll have one day where everything will just go to hell, right? And this is completely out of my control. I mean, it's not me being stupid. It's not me, getting stuck or driving through stuff or Courseplay going crazy or Auto Combine going crazy. This is just computer stuff that I have no control over. Whatever that update did, it's running something in the background that I need to turn off. So, and again, as I've said, I run several programs at the same time while I'm doing this. I'm running the game, obviously. My Logitech Profiler is running for my steering wheel. Raptor, my recording software that I use for Farm Sim and for Euro Truck and for some other games, is running. Audacity, that I use to record my commentary, is running. So all that stuff takes memory, and there's only a finite amount of memory on this thing. So it's all gonna, it's all gonna use it up. It's not horrible. I can live with it. So, and hopefully you guys can too. Oh, I wanted to come in the other way, didn't I? I still want to move these hedges, just because there seems like, only because of the way that I'm using this dairy, the way that it's kind of set up. You know what I could do? Oh, can I swing this around? Can I swing this around? Kind of drive through the muck pile, I guess. I don't know exactly what difference that makes. It's exactly the same way I was coming in the first place, but whatever. We'll just do it that way, and then I'll just back out. That'll be fine. Set the brake, jump, just so this doesn't have to take a week. Get this fired up. Turn the brake off. Go fill the bucket up again. Turn the beacon on. Like I keep saying about these piles, if these were the original piles, the lag would be ridiculous. On top of the lag I already have, it'd probably make the game unplayable. But thankfully, you know, the collisions being removed from those piles, it makes it so much easier to work with now. All right, let's try to get some of this in the muck spreader this time, BB. There we go. Make filling it up a lot quicker if I get it all in there, right? I still, you know, a year playing this game now, over a year playing this game now, and I still love the fact that there's a sound for when the muck hits the trailer. I think that's awesome. Like I said, today's Thursday. You guys will see this on Friday. I'm hoping today to make quite a few videos. I'm going to get back on Subnautica, you know. We're going to get back to doing stuff on that map because I miss playing on that map, believe it or not. Even though I sort of lost my motivation because of the trees and everything. And as I've said, you know, in the beginning of a brand new Let's Play, there's not a lot to do because you don't have cows, you don't have animals, you don't have a lot of fields. You know, you got to wait for stuff to grow and things like that. But I still want to get back on it and play it because it's such a great map, you know, and it's got great equipment associated with it, and I want to play on it. So I'm hoping to make at least 1 or 2 episodes of that. I'm probably going to make some Euro Truck as well, maybe today or tonight. So iRacing has been down for about 4 days now because if you guys are on iRacing or if you know anything about iRacing, you probably know that every 3 months at the end of their seasons run for 12 weeks, and then you have what's called week 13, which is really just sort of a fun week, you know, where iRating and things like that in most things don't count. They put together car and truck combinations that are completely ridiculous, just, you know, to sort of alleviate the stress of running a full season where you're worried about iRating, you're worried about points in a championship, things like that. And usually at the end of that, they have a major update, a new build as it's called, where they, you know, introduce new features or they introduce new cars or they introduce new tracks, and all that has to be built into the service, obviously. Well, they've been having a real issue with this one, apparently. As you guys may be aware, they're releasing the Nürburgring, the entire Nürburgring, the Nordschleife, the GP course, the whole thing. And that's just a massive undertaking, you know, to not only build it, you know, it took years to build, laser scan it, build all the millions of objects and everything that requires. But they've been having problems rolling it out too, and there's a new car that they're releasing as well. Now, obviously, you know, you have to buy that stuff, whether I buy it or not. Probably not. I have the Nordschleife and I have the Nürburgring on enough other sims that I don't need it on iRacing because it's not really something I see myself racing on in iRacing, you know. But, so iRacing's been down, so I haven't been able to do any iRacing, you know, unfortunately. But I'm looking forward to getting back into that. New season coming, new series, you know, new car. So, and I will be running the National Series as well, concurrently with the new series and the new car. So, should be a lot of iRacing videos coming out as soon as they get their stuff straightened out, you know. And I can completely understand how that happens. It's kind of shitty that, you know, it's a paid service and you're sort of now, you know, losing time on the service that you've paid for, but I'm sure they'll do something about that. So. Okay. Set the brake, turn that off, go back to the field. This is one of those times where I wish I had a bigger muck spreader, but, you know, obviously for this farm, a bigger muck spreader would not make any sense. Yes, it would hold more muck, but, you know, would I really need it on a farm this size? No. A real farmer would do exactly this. He would drive, you know, back and forth between where his muck pile was and the fields. Or, you know, I suppose what I could have done was bring a couple of trail loads of muck down to the down to field 1, you know, and sped this process up a little bit. But to be honest, it's not that big of a deal. There's no real fields on this farm a long enough drive away that it's not feasible to just drive back and forth. So as soon as harvest is over, I'm going to the driving school, which still strikes me as odd. But, you know, I have to. I have to go to the driving school. I have to take a theory test. I have to take a road test. I have to, you know, learn all the things I'm supposed to know to drive, you know, an HGV vehicle in the UK. And that's all fine, you know. Me and Kylie are going. I hope she's good because I'm probably going to need some help, you know. You know, I really need to pass this in one shot. I can't be, you know, messing around and having to take multiple attempts at it, you know, because I need to be able to drive my truck and all that. So as far as transferring my regular sort of driving license, that's not a problem. That'll be taken care of at the same time. So I'll be able to drive my Unimog legally on the roads, which I can do right now. But now I don't know exactly where I left off, of course. I don't know. This looks about right. Let's try right here. This is one issue I'm finding with this texture. Not really being able to see where I left off. At least with the original texture, it covered the field, so it was easy to see where you left off. But okay, we will figure it out. So, yeah, you can already see the soil moisture has just shot up 86, 87, 85%, and that's all down to the rain. That's just from the rain that's been coming down in the last couple of hours. So, soil mod doesn't mess around when it comes to rain. This will increase the nutrients. I'll probably not put any PK or anything down for after the alfalfa goes in, just because because alfalfa is just a cover crop, because it's just used as a sort of a free fertilizer. I don't want to waste a lot of money on fertilizer. I did do it last year to get the soil right for the first planting, and to be honest, I'm not 100% certain that it had an effect. It did anything. The yields weren't bad this year, obviously, as you guys know, or at least they haven't been bad so far. The wheat and the potatoes, obviously still have to come up yet, but I think everything went pretty well. So maybe now that I've said that and I'm thinking about it, maybe it may not be a bad idea to fully prep these fields like I would for a regular crop, just so come springtime when I plant, everything will be good. That might not be a bad idea, I guess. And again, hope we get a lot of moisture over the winter to sort of, alleviate this drought. Because it'd be nice to be able to, to do the full soil preparation where I could irrigate, where I could, spray herbicides and everything. I also want to thank the person who told me about not spraying pesticides on canola, as it's illegal in the UK. Now, in the story, obviously, I would have been aware of that. In real life, I wasn't. We don't spread pesticides anyway. We only spread herbicides. There's no pesticides in the game, Now, in the story, are there maybe pesticides sort of built in, combined with the herbicide? Maybe, but I will make sure to not do that on the canola fields, I guess, if I want to be as accurate as possible. And thank you very much for that bit of information, because obviously I didn't know. So. Yeah, I think one more trip maybe we'll do this. We'll go down this, because I've obviously done sort of around the outside of the edge of the field. So I'll go back, fill this up one more time. And then I might get the seeder, get the case over here with the planter, and start planting alfalfa over here, just to get that sort of started. And then we'll call that an episode, I guess. And in the next episode, we will be we'll be spreading muck on field 10, and we will be mucking out the animals, I believe, is the plan. We'll see. We'll see if that plan sticks or not. While I drive back to the dairy farm to get some more muck, I just want to say this. I want to thank every single one of you again for all the support, for all the comments, for all the feedback, for all the the likes and everything else. You guys are awesome. I say this all the time, but I just it always amazes me. The channel is really growing now, and it still amazes me when I log on and I go onto YouTube and I look at my analytics and I look at the subscription numbers and the view numbers and everything. It amazes me that you guys enjoy this so much, and it really makes me happy. It makes me want to make videos. It makes me want to do this because it's really cool. I know when I watch a video from somebody who's enjoying what they're doing, who likes what they're doing, and is having fun doing what they're doing, I'm having fun regardless of really what's going on in the video, I mean, let's face it, guys, farming sim is farming sim. It's not Battlefield, it's not, CSGO, it's not any of that stuff. It's sometimes it's a little repetitive. A lot of times it's very, I don't want to say boring, because if it was boring, none of us would do it or none of us would watch it. But because it simulates a real life activity, it's not always, big bang explosions and fun and everything else, In fact, I would, prefer that there are no explosions in Farm Sim. Thankfully there aren't, because explosions mean bad things, right? But you know, it's awesome that you guys enjoy this so much. I know I do, you know. And I don't ever see myself stopping making Farm Sim videos, you know. I've been playing since Farm Sim 13. I'm sure I will continue to play now until, you know, there is no more Farm Sim, you know, or until I'm so old that I can't physically play it anymore. So, but thank you so much, guys. It means a ton to me that you guys, you know, enjoy this enough to keep coming back to the channel, to keep commenting, to keep subscribing, and everything else. It really means a lot to me. And for everything else you do, you know, for the channel, for the support, for the loyalty, you know, it really means a ton to me. Yeah, we'll do one more trip, I guess. Why not? You know, one more trip, and then we'll call this an episode. And then, like I said, in the next episode, we will be seeding and spreading muck and probably mucking out animals and all that. So it's going to be a little maintenance now until the potatoes in the wheat come up. Probably another maybe game day for the potatoes. Probably 2 or 3 game days for the wheat, because as you guys are aware, I have my growth times set to 2 days now, just to kind of slow everything down so that I have time to sort of get all the other stuff that needs to be done around the farm now done. You know, it's one thing when you don't have much going on when you first start on a farm and you only have a couple of fields and you don't have any animals, you know, you don't have maybe placeables that require attention. But, you know, now that I have all that stuff, now that we're closing up on 100 episodes of this series, you know, there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen, and I need to kind of get through it. Did I get that in there? I swear to God, the tip trigger on this Marshall trailer is so tiny. And I mean, I have a lot of muck, but I can't afford to waste it. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to say thank you to you guys for all the, you know, feedback about, you know, how many episodes of this you want to see. The general consensus seems to be that you guys are you know, you're digging it, and you know, you want to keep seeing it. So okay, I'll keep going. You know, past 100 episodes, that's fine. I have no problem with that whatsoever. This map is way too much fun. And as I've said, you know, because everybody's busy now, and it's, you know, getting to be Christmas time here, you know, everybody's busy, and, you know, maybe we're not putting as much effort into the story so much as we were at one time, you know, but don't worry, that will be coming back. You know, there'll be plenty of story going on, plenty of role play, plenty of things, plenty of drama here in the soap opera that is Old Ridge, to coin a phrase that Mike used, the soap opera of Old Ridge. So I know I have a couple story ideas that I want to sort of explore, but I kind of want to wait till the harvest is over, because, you know, obviously harvest is a very busy time. So now this pile does have collisions. Obviously they're built, you know, Giants collisions, so they work fine. So I can't just park the bucket in the middle of the pile and expect it to fill up, which is really cool. I'm glad about that, you know, that they've sort of instituted the you know, forward-only bucket filling, you know, because that was a mod in Farming Simulator 13. Because as you guys are probably aware, in Farming Simulator 13, you could fill up a bucket, you know, just by backing up, by sitting it, you know, in the middle of a pile or whatever. So at least they've sort of instituted a little bit of realism in that respect. It sort of looks like the rain is lightening up, but I can't really tell. It's kind of hard. It's not maybe as subtle as it would be in real life. It sort of goes from raining to you know, to not raining without really much in between. So sometimes it's hard to tell if it's lightening up or not. I know the wind's still blowing because you can see that sort of mist blowing around, you know, which is neat. That's a neat effect. And whatever my computer was doing, it's not doing anymore, so the lag is gone, so that's good. All right, there we go. Health and safety. Oh, make sure the wheels are touching the ground. Turn that off, set the brake, turn the beacon off, jump out. So many things to do, so many things to do. Try to get backed up again. Again, I could have used the conveyor and made this a lot easier, just drive under the conveyor. But you know what? I felt like, you know, I've said this before, but I feel like I don't do a whole lot of loader work anymore. So I feel like I should do it. You know, I've got the buckets, I've got the front loaders. I mean, why not use them, right? Don't mind me. I'm not driving through that hedge. I may move one of those hedges. I do want to put another entrance on this dairy meadow too, because as I've said, I'm going to move some stuff over there, and it's not going to be a meadow anymore. So I'm going to put another entrance, one that goes directly across from the entrance to the dairy there, into that what will be sort of an extended yard now. This may be a fairly long episode. I don't know how long the first part was before I just stopped for the phone call, but this is already 20 minutes, so this may be a fairly long episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. You know, I think that's one of the really sort of fun things about this game. Maybe that's what gives this game its appeal. The fact that, you know, I don't know where I'm going, that it's the simple stuff. You know, and it's all simple stuff in game terms, right? But it's the simpler things, the maintenance stuff, the spreading muck, the spreading slurry, the mucking out animals, the feeding animals, the stuff like that really makes this game, at least for me, a lot of fun, you know? Harvest and silage, everybody loves silage, obviously, you know? I don't do silage on this map. I may at some point when we get, you know, much bigger and we get more fields and everything, and I can, you know, I can really justify having a forage harvester and all of that. I know everybody loves to do silage, you know, and I love to do it too. Don't get me wrong. I do a lot of silage off screen. You know, corn silage and chopping corn and lifting grass and all that, because it's a lot of fun. But I think I need to be over here because I see muck on that bit. So I think I'll run down this bit. Set that. Again, I'm probably missing, you know, a bunch of this field, but I'm not looking to get every square inch of it. That's not what I'm looking for. So just to get some sort of, you know, to get a little bit extra down here, because obviously the nutrients aren't bad, you know, but it's still the same game day. So we'll see what happens in the next game day. But with this down, it should help. And the soil moisture is lower on this half of the field than it is on the other half. Again, you know, that's I don't know if that's a glitch now with soil mod or whatever, but it is a cool one. You can see right there the soil moisture is 90%, you know. I love the fact that it's different on different parts of the field, because that's how it is in real life too. Now, there are optimum levels, as you guys know, for soil mod. I believe the soil, for an optimum yield, for 100% yield, I believe the soil moisture has to be 57%. I believe you have to have ×6 on an N and ×5 on the PK. And if I'm wrong, you guys can certainly let me know this. Obviously, no weeds, you know, and that gives you 100%. But to be honest, I don't really focus on that. I don't try to get it to 100%. I eyeball everything. I like to have a lot of N in my fields, you know. And I'll take the yield that gives me, because that allows me to do stuff that maybe I wouldn't do if I was trying to get, you know, the perfect optimum soil level. Now, in real life, would you try to get the perfect optimum soil level? Of course you would. You know what I mean? Without a doubt, you would. But for the game, I think it's more fun to, you know, to eyeball it, to do it maybe the old-fashioned way, I guess, you know. I do have that soil mod reference chart, you know, that tells me what everything is and you know, what would be the optimum levels of everything and all that. But you know what? I don't know. That's fun and everything. And as a pure simulation, that's something you obviously would want to use. It'd be like using a Navigraph chart for Flight Sim, or, you know, or a real life map for ETS, say. But you know, I kind of like doing it this way. So maybe once we get much bigger, you know, and we get a lot of fields and there's a lot of spraying and nutrient application that needs to be done, you know, and I'm looking to try to maximize my nutrient yield and or my nutrient application, you know, versus money and all that, that may be a thing. Because obviously, as you guys know, spreading nutrients on these fields is expensive. The only one that is not expensive, sort of on the back end, would be muck or slurry. It's still expensive, you know, in labor. It's still expensive in diesel. It's still expensive to create it, because you've got to grow grass, you've got to cut grass, you've got to feed your animals and all that, and that's expensive, you know, on the front end. But on the back end, muck and slurry are basically free. Anything else you spray on here, any liquid chemicals, any solid chemicals, you know, is expensive. Lime is ridiculously expensive. So I like it when I see my fields are at a decent level, you know, as far as soil pH goes. All right, and there we go. And I think I'll just stop right here, and that will be that. And we'll stop right there. Oh, I didn't want to shut it off, but that's fine. And there you go, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. This is going to be a fairly long episode, as I said, so I'm not going to make it any longer by rambling on at the end of it. In the next episode, we'll be planting, we'll be mucking out animals, we'll be spreading some more muck, and we'll just keep going on that till the potatoes and the wheat comes up and we get back into the harvest. As always, guys, leave me any comments you want to leave me. suggestions, tips, information about real life things or in-game things. I really appreciate that stuff. Thank you so much. Comments, complaints, concerns, questions, anything like that. Anything you guys want to talk about, you're welcome to leave it. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for making me a part of your YouTube day. And this is the Bipolar Prophet saying, see you later.